The Frozen North, Episode 40, our top 5 video game plots. Hello and welcome to episode number 40 of The Frozen North. 40, guys.
It's a lot of
40.
numbers.
That's a lot of zeros. Is that what you're going to say? It is.
No,
man.
I wasn't going to say that.
One.
Wasn't going to say. Yes, yeah.
It is more than 0 zeros, I guess.
That's more than we get on the nine previous.
Man, you are on fire today, huh? My name is JJ, and I'm here with my two friends, Mark.
Yep, that's my name. Okay. My name's Mark.
That's it.
And howdy, y'all.
Oh my gosh, man!
I don't know how to react because
Is it 'cause
of the
Brian's
person.
not here?
The person sitting to my left is not Brian.
Brian is not here today, unfortunately. He had some family matters he had to take care of, so we are Brian-less. But he is in our memories and in our hearts, and he'll be back.
In a way,
for sure.
we're Brian Moore.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be back in 2 weeks. But joining us today, we do have, you've heard him on the show before. He is another good friend of ours. He is a forum moderator for us on our website, and hopefully going to be doing some other stuff for us soon. Matt, what's going on, man?
Hi, my name's Brian. I don't know what you're talking about. I like Mass Effect.
You sound way different than Brian.
You have a lot more hair than Brian.
And you don't say Guidle every other word.
Guido.
Oh, okay, it is Brian. Okay, Brian, good to have you here, man.
How you doing?
So, Matt, what's going on, man?
Man, I am so excited that I'm on this show today. Like, it's been a long time coming. 40 episodes. Finally made it.
You were on one.
Well, for like 5 minutes.
It was like a half hour.
It felt like 5 minutes.
Okay. All right.
I want to do this for hours, man.
Oh, boy. Well, we try to keep it to 1 hour today, but knowing you and your love for Final Fantasy 13.
God.
Terrible.
Oh, my God.
I know. I'm going to stay out of this since I haven't really played it.
You're going to stay out of this, yeah, because we're on the air now. Before that, you're the one giving him the most crap out of everybody. You haven't even played it. It's ridiculous. Speaking of what we have or haven't been playing, what have we been playing, I guess, is the...
What
Yes.
have I been playing?
Mark, what have you been playing?
I just played The Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 4, and it was incredible. IGN was like, okay, I don't know about this one. It kind of goes against the themes they've established in the first 3 episodes, but they're wrong. Once again, IGN is wrong.
Okay, big surprise.
The way it felt to me was like it's the counter argument to what they've been establishing in the first 3 episodes, and in that sense, it's perfect. It's really good. So once you get to Season 2, JJ, you're in for a treat.
I got to have all the episodes out. Is it 5 episodes per season, right?
Yes, 5 episodes.
Okay.
I also, this doesn't count as playing, but I watched like an entire playthrough of Chrysalis recently.
You watched an entire playthrough?
I skimmed a little bit, but I mainly watched because it's awesome. If you haven't played Chrysalis, you need to play Chrysalis or watch a YouTube video of someone playing Chrysalis because came out in 1990.
Yeah, it's
and
for NES. It's kind of like a Zelda clone, right? Well, I wouldn't call
It's
it
like
a clone.
Zelda clone, but it's
like
so
better.
much more advanced than the original Zelda. Rightly so, because Zelda came out in 1986.
Yeah.
So it had 4 years to do it better than Zelda did it.
I saw your brother play it.
It was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah. Wasn't a game I grew up on, so I'm sure if
I
it
get-
was.
yeah, that's
you
true.
know. I mean, looking back on it, it was just kind of like, oh, cool, guy with the sword, shooting stuff, sweet.
But those upgrades, man.
Those
upgrades.
I'll have to watch Brian's brother play it, I guess.
I think we should all just get together and watch Brian's brother play it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Yeah, sounds good to me. So is that it? You've been just playing Walking Dead and watching
Yes.
Chrysalis?
Yes.
Sweet. I have been playing more Tales of Vesperia. Go figure. I still have not beaten it, but I am very close. I know I'm very close because I looked it up, and I didn't get any spoilers. I just wanted to see the area that I was in compared to the end of the game, and I'm little over 2/3 of the way through.
Nice.
So it's a long game, but it's a good time. So having a good time with that, and then been playing Hearthstone because they got the solo mode out now, which is actually pretty fun. I'm enjoying it. So, other than that, not too much. Matt, what about you?
I played through a couple of things here in the past couple of weeks. I posted this on the forum, but I wanted to mention it here. I did play through Final Fantasy VI again, probably like more than my hundredth time.
Did you beat
it? Of course, I beat it.
That's funny that he started and beat it, and Brian still hasn't finished it yet.
Man, Brian's
Brian, when you listen to this, because I know you will, finish that game. Do it.
He really should.
Brian, if you finish the game before the next time we record, I'll bring a pie to the next recording session.
You know, I bet that I could probably play through and beat all the Final Fantasy games like in order before Brian beats Final Fantasy VI.
That sounds like a challenge right there. Dang.
I might want to throw that down. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Dang.
Because I'd enjoy doing that anyway, so I just like those games. So anyway, when I played through Final Fantasy VI again, like this time I avoided anything that sort of like breaks the mechanics. So I forced myself to make it as enjoyable as it possibly can be, and it really was. I'm really, really happy that I did that.
Yeah, you played as it was meant to be played. Unless you want to use a guide, because you don't want to skip anybody.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a thing. It's not my fault that I can see through the mechanical problems with the game.
Don't act like you came up with that stuff, all right? It's the internet. You saw it online like the rest of us, and you're like, oh, that makes it easier. Sure, I'll do it.
Hey.
Don't
hey,
even.
Hey, I didn't do that for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
It was,
Mm-hmm.
Matt, get over it.
Nonetheless,
I am over it.
Nonetheless,
That's why.
I am proud of you for finally doing so, and I'm glad you got some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, newfound respect for that game. Second game that I've been playing that I haven't finished yet, I've actually been playing Watch Dogs because it came with my new video card for free. So I didn't buy it, and I'm glad that I didn't buy it. But I'll say this about Watch Dogs. It's a really great game to play if you can get yourself into the right mindset to play the game. If you have the false expectations of like a really genuinely good experience, you're probably not going to enjoy it. But like me, I sit down with a couple of beers and start playing through it and know that it's going to be over the top and cheesy and absurd, and occasionally the mechanics are going to break on you. If you can expect that and appreciate it for what it is and just laugh at it instead of just be pissed, then it's a really enjoyable experience to have. It's still overall still really fun. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for anybody who's into like serious plots and serious, game mechanics and stuff like that, but it's a fantastic experience nonetheless as long as you actually have fun with it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for the sequel to it. It seems like Ubisoft has become sort of like we'll get it right the second time company.
I think I'd agree with that.
When they took over Far Cry, the first one they made was Far Cry 2. There's some cool things in there, but it kind of sucked. And then the third one comes out, and it's awesome. Same thing with Assassin's Creed. The second one was where it really shined, and hopefully it'll be the same with this.
Hopefully they don't make quite as many sequels for Watch Dogs as they did for Assassin's Creed.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, as always, we invite you to come on over and let us know what you think of the show. Our email address is frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com. Our website is fngaming.net. You can come check out our forum there, see our news notes, and all of our episodes are available there as well. Our Facebook page is at facebook.com/thefrozennorth. Our Twitter is at fnpodcast. We have a blog at frozennorthpodcast.blogspot.com. Please subscribe to and rate us on iTunes, and just tell us what you think. We appreciate any feedback, good or bad. Just keep it constructive. Cool? All right, moving on. News. Brian is not here. So he was nice enough to actually put together the news, though. So I'm going to basically read his notes here word for word. And we shall see. So first up on the docket, we've got Casey Hudson departs BioWare. Casey Hudson... First words in, and I'm already doing it.
Harder than it looks to read text.
I think it'd be easy for you because you do it all the time. Casey, that's what I thought. Casey Hudson has been a key member of BioWare, serving as project director for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic and director and executive producer of all three Mass Effect titles. Oh, no wonder he picked this story. After the 2012 departure of BioWare co-founders Ray Musica and Greg Zeshuk, wow. Hudson took on an even more central... I'm surprised he didn't put David for both of those guys. Hudson took on an even more central role in the company. Today, however, Hudson announced in a letter that has been posted on BioWare's website that he is ready to hit the reset button and move on from BioWare. Hudson has not said what his plans are for the future. For more on his role with the company, check out our video interviews there. I'm guessing he copied and pasted this because we didn't do any video interviews. It's up on GameInformer.com, where Hudson describes the origin of Mass Effect and the future of RPGs. Man, I thought he typed this stuff out. Man, we just proved him wrong, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
See, that's, I was trying to get you to say something about how maybe EA is the reason he left. Matt, that's what the hand signals meant.
Yeah, I didn't get it either.
That would have been.
It's hard to
brilliant.
make an E with your hand.
No,
well, I guess you're going to prove
really
me
not.
wrong.
Marcus,
actually.
it makes complete sense though. EA doesn't want the competition. Of course, they want him out at BioWare. What, you were going to bring up this subject matter and then not have a retort when I agree with it?
Nope. I mean,
Unbelievable,
yes.
Yes. What's the answer to that? Dang it, I didn't think
I
this
just
far
wanted
ahead.
to get you started, man. I didn't have.
Of course
I didn't
you
care
did.
where it went.
All right, moving on. Successful quarter has Square Enix optimistic. Square Enix is celebrating a good 3-month financial period ending on June 30th of this year, thanks to the sales of titles like Final Fantasy XIV with the performance that was better than last year at the same time. This, in turn, has boosted the company's overall outlook into the fall. During the last quarter, net sales were up 56.8% from the same time period for the previous year, and the company went from a 493 million yen loss to a 3.4 billion yen net profit. Wow.
That's quite a turnaround.
That is quite the turnaround.
That's the kind of news I like to hear.
No joke. Accordingly, this bump has caused the company to revise its previous outlook for the 6-month period ending on September 30th. Previously, Square Enix expected to post anywhere from a net loss of 1.3 billion yen to a 1.3 profit. Now it anticipates announcing up to a 4.5 billion yen in net income.
Wow.
That is freaking incredible.
Unbelievable.
Really good news.
See, I'm telling you, man. Once they start throwing out those JRPGs and actually going to town on them.
Yeah.
Man, if Final Fantasy 15 is as good as I think that it is, man, Square's back, baby.
As long as it's better than 13, that's fine with me. What do you want to say, Mark? Oh, sorry.
Nothing. I actually don't want to. What's that mean?
I was doing hand signals
is
to
a-
try and
what's a
get you to
hand
say
gesture?
something, and then I was going to let you talk.
That kind of looks like an E, right?
Sure.
This is
Except
why
I
we
don't know whether or not you want me to just focus on your 2 fingers or your 3 fingers.
Can't hide my other
This
fingers,
is why we
dude.
can't have nice things.
This isn't
So-
a video podcast.
Upcoming Tomb Raider to take game mocap to new heights. What does mocap mean, Mark?
Motion capture.
I'm impressed. The next Tomb Raider is hoping to bring a level of realism orders of magnitude higher than what is usually seen in games. The graphically upgraded version of Tomb Raider that came to Xbox One and PS4 at the beginning of the year showed a marked improvement in realism from the already impressive graphics of the last-gen versions. But a recent tweet by Lara Croft actress Camilla Luddington hints that the next iteration of the franchise could have even more realistic graphics. That's cool. This is Mova. Ooh, M-O-V-A. She captioned the photo, "A fluorescent paint sprayed all over my face to give 7,000 points of reference." Wow. Those points of reference are used in motion capture. Normal facial motion capture uses 90 points of reference.
That's quite
Oh
an
my gosh.
increase.
That's a little bit more.
That's like Square Enix's profit bump.
Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty crazy. That's cool. That'd be cool to see.
Man, I already saw the re-release that came out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It already looked gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm excited to see if they actually are increasing it by that magnitude.
Maybe this time it'll look as good as the Uncharted trailers from E3 look.
That's true.
Which is to say, the end product never looks that good.
I know. It's saddening.
All right, moving on. Secret of Mana iOS on sale, heading to Android this fall. Square Enix's classic action RPG Secret of Mana sees a significant price drop on iOS platforms this week ahead of newly announced Android port.
Woo!
Why are we,
Oh, yeah.
man? How would you even play this on a freaking on a phone or something? That's insane.
Secret of Mana, I have no idea. Like, they did do Final Fantasy Tactics, War of the Lions,
That
on iOS.
I could see that.
And yeah, apparently it's like the best version they've ever made. So I'm actually going to pick it up whenever I get an iPad.
But that's not an action RPG. You're
I
not
know.
actively moving your character all over the screen.
I mean, even a traditional RPG, like they released a Final Fantasy game on the Android operating system. I don't even remember what it's called, but I own it. and like the controls are like down in the corner.
You talking about Dimensions?
Yes,
I got that too. Yeah,
it's actually really good, but like the
Controls.
controls are just
yep. That's
like,
what bugs me about it.
I just want to plug in a USB controller into the.
They do have like controllers that you can add to your phone that you like clip onto the side, and it actually works that way. But I don't know.
They got one that's the size of a Nexus 7.
Because
that would be amazing.
I have a USB OTG.
Get yourself an Ouya.
Money.
Terrible.
It's only $100.
That's true.
I just want to say I have a USB OTG cable that allows me to plug in my Xbox 360 controller to my tablet.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
that
need
helps
to do.
it out a little bit.
Yeah, I need to get that.
Looks like The Secret of Mana is currently available for $3.99 through August 10th on the iOS. So, and then the Android one's going to come out this fall. Doesn't say anything about a price though. You know what? It doesn't bother me that much because they're re-releases. If they were new games, it would be one thing, but they're re-releases. So you know what? Fine.
It's not taking anything away from you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, they're boosting their product margin without actually hurting anything in terms of their actual quality of product. So I'm fine with it.
Don't get me started on Breath of Fire 6 though.
You got me started on it now. You have no idea my rage.
It's ridiculous.
I flipped the table.
All right, so next one up. Natural Doctrine might be the Dark Souls of tactical JRPGs. The first note that he has up there, it says, noobs need not apply. This tactical JRPG is made for a very specific type of gamer. Do you relish in methodical calculations of your every move, knowing full well that a single mistake could bring you to ruin? Are you a fan of medieval fantasy, but tire of the rampant fan service that saturates the JRPG genre? Can you bring yourself to look past the visuals to appreciate deep mechanics? If you answered yes to all of these questions, Natural Doctrine might be your new strategy obsession.
I can see that next line he wrote.
I'm already salivating. Is there more?
His next line just says, so you can count Mark and JJ out.
Bam.
Man,
what's funny, though, is it says, can you bring yourself to look past visuals to appreciate deep mechanics? Well, then count Brian out, because all he cares about are visuals.
Definitely.
I will agree, though, that Marcus probably can't play it because he likes
easy
games only.
If I'm able to save at any point, if I don't have to save before the battle, if I can save in the battle, like after every single turn,
he's gonna save every time his guy swings a sword because if he misses, he's just gonna reload.
Yeah, dude, I really enjoy playing games that way. It sounds stupid, but I like it.
You play your way, I'll play mine. All right. Next up, pre-orders declining industry-wide. Interesting. Activision Publishing president says reservations are no longer the most important pre-launch performance predictor. Bungie's upcoming shooter Destiny is on track to be the most pre-ordered new intellectual property in gaming history, but Activision Publishing president and CEO Eric Hirshberg isn't putting as much stock in that as one might expect. Speaking to investors during a post-earning conference call today, Hirshberg says pre-orders just don't mean as much as they used to. Is this good or bad for the gaming industry, is what Brian asks.
I don't think it really means anything on its own.
Yeah, I mean, it's an opinion of one guy. I mean, granted, he's in a pretty high position, but...
Well, it's also, I mean, with digital distribution, with 24-hour Walmarts, people don't need to pre-order games like they used to. There's not limited runs very much anymore. So if you don't buy a game, it's not like it's going to sell out forever.
That's not necessarily true, though. There are limited runs on like collector's editions and special editions and stuff.
But those represent a very small portion of the overall market.
Well, yeah, but don't you think that it would be beneficial to be able to pre-order those still?
I don't think pre-orders are going anywhere. I'm commenting on whether it's a good metric for
I see what you're
the
saying.
Success of the industry.
I gotcha.
A product. And I think it's just, it's so readily available now from so many different facets that we don't need to pre-order it from GameStop and wait at midnight to get it.
Yeah.
Many times I've walked into Walmart and forced the employee to go back and find the pallet in the warehouse and get the game for me. Hey, it says it released at midnight, man.
Mark's the type of guy to go into KFC and be like, that chicken better be fresh. I'll wait.
That's different with games.
Man.
I did that with Spore.
I have no doubt. Oh, my gosh.
Should have had it out, man.
Knowing you, though, you probably felt bad afterwards,
I did feel bad, but I still wanted the game.
You still do it, though, yeah. So ridiculous.
I haven't pre-ordered a game since Final Fantasy 13.
Really?
Right over here. I can't wait. Because I just pre-ordered Destiny.
I pre-order just, like I said, collector's editions and that kind of stuff.
So that makes sense, because there was that whole situation with...
Correct.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I get it, which obviously in some cases doesn't matter. But
I think that Square Enix is the only company that can convince me to go out at midnight to get a game at this point. It's just how I feel.
yeah, don't order directly from Square Enix's website though, unless you have to. Digital River, not good, not good, awful.
I'll probably still just use GameStop.
The only thing is, like, especially in Square Enix's case, a lot of the stuff that you, like, the pre-order bonuses that you get, some of them you can't get unless you order from their website. Like, some of them were only available from their website.
That's really lame. I didn't actually even know that.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to comment on this, like, maybe one of the reasons why it's declining as a metric is because of the success of digital distribution with Steam.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to
you touched on it a little bit, but, like, since I got on Steam... Like, I've had a Steam account and I've had a few games, but it was mostly just me reinstalling Half-Life 2 every couple of days.
Yeah, I think the perception of scarcity is what drives pre-orders.
But the way that Steam sales have been hitting the market for a couple of years now, like I've stopped buying games in person except for the ones that are really added to my collection, such as Square Enix games, like those JRPGs that I actually want to have a physical copy. Yeah. But for digital distributed content that I can just have on an account, I don't feel the need to ever go and pre-order it because there's no such thing as a limited supply of digital content. So maybe that's the reason why it's down so much, because I do think that digital distribution has increased and physical copies has decreased over the past few years.
It's unfortunate. In my eyes, as a collector, it's unfortunate.
I can see it either way. Like, when I go to my Steam list of games that I own, I still get the same feeling of looking at my list of games that I own and going, I will never lose these games.
Oh, I don't.
I think you would agree that
own them.
Some of the stuff they do now to try and drive pre-orders of games is really kind of crappy. Like, if you don't pre-order it, you don't get this one extra multiplayer map, or you don't get
a sweet costume.
You don't get this costume.
Yeah.
Where it's not like, I think there's still going to be collector's editions for sure. But maybe the crap where you have to pre-order it just to get like one specific gun, and if you don't get it on the right console or from the right store, then you don't get the content you want. I think that I would be fine with that going away.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I when I look at my collection of games physically, like my physical collection, there's no way I could get the same feeling from looking at my Steam list. All I'm seeing on Steam list is just a wall of text. That's it. You're just seeing a list of names. It's just a wall of text. I mean, it's cool, but you're not seeing the colorful backgrounds. You're not seeing the characters on the side of the box. You're not seeing anything other than just white text. And to me, that's just so different. I'm not saying it's bad, because shoot, I've got 200 plus games on Steam. I'm not against digital distribution at all. I'm just saying, as a collector, I really just like having the game in my hand.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with you to a point. I mean, there is a reason why I'm buying the physical copies of, Square Enix games. Even if they were all on Steam, I probably would not buy a Square Enix game on Steam.
Sure.
Because I want to own a physical copy of it, and that's just because I'm a fanboy.
I hear you. All right, so that's all we got for news. Cool. Thank you, Brian. Even though you're not here, appreciate you putting that together for us.
Oh, I have one more I didn't really write this down or anything. I just saw it earlier today.
You gonna be able to say it if you didn't write it down?
Sort of.
Sort of.
GameStop is changing the way they calculate the value of trading in games. They're supposed to be adding more value on average to the games you bring in and simplifying the structure, because I don't know exactly how it works, but it's pretty complicated right now. So that could be good for people who have old games that they've just been holding on to for no reason.
So you get like
I think
a buck instead of 75 cents?
I think it's like 10 to 20% more value. And they said I think the average for a used game was like $9. I'm not sure. I'm just throwing that out there. It's in that range.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of people like myself who went out and bought a game like, let's just say, Spider-Man 3. I bought that game for PlayStation 3 when it came out.
Mistake.
And I owned it for 2 hours and brought it back, and it decreased its value by like 30%.
Wow.
I only got like $35 back for it or something like that. It was absurd.
Nice.
So, I mean, those are being added in too, because I imagine there's still a lot of little kids that make that mistake every day.
Definitely.
So,
it's ridiculous. I bought on my Nintendo 64, this was years and years and years ago, that old South Park game where you have the plunger gun and stuff. I bought that for $60 when it came out. You know how much they took it back for?
How much?
$0.25.
Man,
Nice.
Not a quarter of 60, 25 cents is what they offered me.
I'm upset that you brought it back. That game was awesome.
That game was
I
terrible.
love that game. It was
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
You know what game was good? Big Bumpin'. Do you remember that game?
No.
That was a go-kart, like a bumper cart game from
Moving on.
Burger King Studios.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Along with Sneak King.
Yeah, Sneak King was also in there.
Nope.
Could you take those back to GameStop? Would they take them?
I think I might still have them. I'm not sure.
We should take them to GameStop and see what they give it for us.
They cost $1 or $2 when I bought
Moving
them.
right along. We want to remind everybody that we do have a contest that we would like to do, but we need 100 Twitter followers first. We are,
I believe we're at
so
98.
close. I would assume we're going to be at 100 by the next time.
But you know what happens?
If
You know what
can't
happens
get
when you
2
assume.
followers.
You know what happens
in the
when you
next
assume.
2 weeks mark, you're fired.
That's fine.
Bam.
I want to put.
That's fine.
I support this
Even
idea.
if you have to go make 2 accounts.
I will do that right now. I want to make 2 accounts.
Hey, JJ, can I have Marcus's spot if he gets fired?
Sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
you can
All right.
run.
All right.
You
I'm
can run the
rooting
Twitter
for you to
account.
fail.
You can.
Yeah, but in order to do so, you have to beat all the Final Fantasies before Brian beats 6.
Oh my goodness.
You said you could do it.
Well, are you going to
You
tell?
threw down
Are
the
you going to
gauntlet.
tell Brian about this contest?
He'll listen to this episode.
By the time he listens to the episode, though, I'll probably already be done.
Ouch. Man, look at that. Again, that's the other
Jeez.
gauntlet down. So-
do I need to do a video cast of this though?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yes.
I don't believe him if I don't see it.
All right, I'll get on that.
All right, so 100 Twitter followers. Get us there. Do it. Now, the next thing we have is something special, something I am super excited about. We have a new guy that joined our team. His name is Raul, and he is going to basically be a contributor. I talked, I didn't talk about it yet, but if you go to the website, and also I posted it on the Facebook page, and I think Mark linked it on Twitter as well.
Yep.
We would like to start doing what we call side quests, which are essentially you record your own segment and you send it in to us. And if we like, what you have, we go ahead and we put it on the show. Raul did this. He actually applied as a contributor, and he sent us a segment, and his intro segment was so good that I thought it was, good enough to put on the show. So we, Mark and I talked to him and we were like, yeah, we're going to put this on, dude. It's phenomenal. You did a great job. So what we're about to play is essentially, a perfect example of what we're looking for. Keep it from, under 5 minutes. Talk about whatever you want as long as it's video game related. If we, obviously keep it, family friendly, PG, you'll be on the show. That's it. So without further ado, here is Raul.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Raul Cruz, and today I will be discussing my favorite Final Fantasy VI character of all time. Now, before I get into that discussion, I do want to mention what I've been playing recently. I've been playing Earthbound on the Wii U, and I was lucky enough to get it for free. I am a platinum member of the Nintendo Club, so I went ahead and downloaded it. And at first, I didn't think I was going to like it. It does flip around the cliche of the fantasy world in role-playing games. So instead of being in this medieval fantasy world, you're in a city in the mid-90s, I'm going to assume, because that's when the game was released. And instead of using swords, you use bats. Instead of using potions, you eat hamburgers and cookies. So I have about 7 hours in there. Really loving it so far. I find myself going back to it every day and enjoying it. So let's go ahead and get into my favorite Final Fantasy VI character of all time. Now, this character is a bit of a mystery to get. His name's Gogo, and you had to be sucked in by this giant parasitic worm, and you find him in the worm, just kind of hanging out, very nonchalant, and you save him, and so he joins your party, and he's wrapped in these rags or old clothes. He looks very much like an old merchant, from these olden times. But the great thing about Gogo is that you could assign any skill to him, whether it be, the Blitz ability, Edgar's Tools ability, and I always assign him the Blitz ability because I always had a Sabin or Sabin, however we want to call him, on my team, and both of them would just do Blitz, and I would just obliterate any monsters. But what I really liked about them was just how you were able to get them. You know, these old role-playing games had a tendency of having these weird secret characters, but also these even weirder ways of how to acquire them. So that is my favorite Final Fantasy VI character of all time, Go-Go. He's awesome. I even have a Perler Beat coaster of him. You know, so really awesome, and thanks for listening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Raul. Appreciate the input there. And
That's awesome.
Literally, that is all you have to do. You send that to our email address at frozennorthpodcast@gmail.com.
That is all you have to do, Matt.
That's
It's true. I'm pretty lazy.
Matt can actually, since he's with us here, all he has to do is he can record it with
all
us.
he has to do is talk into a microphone.
He just needs to come to me with some ideas, man. I'd be happy to lay it down on the mic.
I got all the ideas. I just have to sort them out.
All right, we're eagerly awaiting. I know you got some good insight, so we're ready for it. What'd you get? I'm so glad that he talked about Go-Go, because when we did our underrated characters, he was on my list.
True, I remember that.
And it's so nice to hear another Go-Go fan, because he's great. Right, Matt?
He can't equip Espers. So
That's because he already knows all the magic.
So his stats can't grow.
That doesn't matter. He can do anything. At level 99, do you really need high stats?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you want him to do. I mean, I put tools on him and have him use the Debilitator and Noise Blaster and stuff like that. So
no way. Give him Blitz, give him Magic, and give him, I don't know, something else.
He doesn't hit nearly as hard as Sabin does with Blitz.
Well, of course. He's good at everything. He's not great at anything.
No, I mean, I'll put Blitz on him and use, like, Mantra and, heal my party with it. That's good.
Waste.
I'm ashamed of you, Matt.
You hurt me, sir. You've cut me deeply. Anyways, so yes, it's that simple. All you got to do is just send something like that in, and I mean, that was what, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, something like that. So I mean, if you've got ideas out there and you want them heard, let us know. I can't guarantee, obviously, because if you come on and you start cussing up a storm and throwing out crude humor and that kind of stuff, I'm not going to be able to play that on there. But if you just want to talk about games, you want to put something together, let me know. I'll even edit it for you. Raul was nice enough to edit it himself. I didn't even have to touch it.
Hey, and if you do send in the crude humor, we'll still listen to it and enjoy
absolutely.
it in private.
For sure.
It just won't be on the show.
That is a good point. So yeah, I mean, we invite anybody to do that. And Raul is just, I'm so excited because he's got such great ideas. We've talked, about some of the things that he's got planned, and I mean, I wish I could tell you guys some of this stuff, because it's going to be great. It really is. He's already submitted another segment, and it's better than this one.
I can't wait.
So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, moving along, top 5 video game plots. Matt, what's a plot?
Man, that is such a loaded question.
What do you mean?
I feel like it
is
not a loaded question.
It's a story.
Well, it's a story of a game, but like, is it the story that is told to the player, or the overall story of the game if you go looking for it and connect the dots?
I was just looking for a story.
This isn't like a beyond the game question. This is
Yeah. We're not trying to go deep and mystical. We're just talking about good ones here. That's all.
But I like deep and mystical.
Well, this isn't. You know what? Then you should come up with some segments.
I got nothing for you. You got me.
All right, so we have put together a top 5 list, and Matt obviously has done so as well, and I am very excited to hear a couple of his. He says he's going to change my mind, so we'll see.
No, it won't.
No,
I'm not.
It won't. What? Tattoos and zombies, man. That's what it is, right?
Okay.
All right, Matt, why don't you go ahead and kick us off then?
Sure. All right. My number 5 is Final Fantasy Tactics: The War of the Lions. For those of you who know me at all in person, you know that Final Fantasy Tactics is kind of one of my favorite games of all time. I mean, it's not the top game on my list, but it's always going to be on the top 5 list. And the plot is probably one of the chief reasons why. Basically, Final Fantasy Tactics puts you in control of a character named Ramza. You are in a medieval fantasy setting in an age of knighthood and chivalry, and a lot of terrible things involving churches and legends starts happening, and you get involved in the middle of it as kind of the black sheep of a really high up family, and you get the unique opportunity to attempt to stop a huge war from happening. And you find out some really interesting things about the world along the way, and the overall plot does this thing that I'd never seen before in a video game. And the reason why it's on my list is because it does the double lie. And what the double lie is that it tells you something at the beginning of the game that's like a given, and you assume that it is given, and like halfway through the game, you find out that it's wrong. That it's actually, like, that's like supposed to be the big plot twist of the midsection of the game. But then, if you want to and you find it as part of the plot, you find out that the thing that you found out was the lie. Not only was that wrong, but the thing that you were told was the truth behind it is also wrong. And there's a third truth behind that. And when that hits you, you're just like, wait, oh my God, this game played me for the whole game. I just got completely trolled. And it was amazing. Beyond that, with the plot, specifically I chose War of the Lions, the PSP version that came out, because it got a retranslation, and the poetic dialogue that is involved throughout the game is very unique to this particular game. I don't see this kind of artful, romanticized Shakespearean type dialogue in games anymore. You just don't hear this kind of talk coming from a video game that's able to hold people's attention. So I highly respect it in that regard as well.
That sort of writing actually fits the game very well, because like if you look at the environments, the I don't want to say costumes, but like the clothes and the look of the characters, the way that the cities are presented and everything like that, everything fits very, very well together. It's just a very, very well put together game. Anybody who hasn't played it really needs to give it a chance, even if you don't like tactical RPGs. I met plenty of people who don't like tactical RPGs who think Final Fantasy Tactics is great.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not too rough. I mean, it's not nearly as in your face difficult as a lot of other tactical RPGs are. There
are a few parts where it can get frustrating though.
It can.
Like,
I mean,
there's
on your grinding and stuff. If you actually go out of your way to level up a little bit, then you should be okay.
Well, and it's got one of those things that I hate that games do, where they have a point of no return.
That's true.
Where you can save, and then there's no way to go back and grind if you can't beat this next fight.
I actually ran into that problem twice because I've
had it happen to me.
Severely underleveled.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. One time, I remember when I had the only way I was able to do it was I made my entire party knights, and I had to just bulldoze through it.
Sometimes that works.
Yep.
You got to do what you got to do.
Thank goodness. Okay, so I'll go next. Sure. My number 5 is Star Ocean: The Second Story.
Not the third one?
Not the third one. No,
better not be the third one.
I told you, man. I like the second one is my favorite in the series. It was the first one I played, and it was great. Matt actually introduced me to this game, which in turn introduced me to the whole series. But this one is just. I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, I don't know if it's the actual storyline itself necessarily that I really love, but just the way it's presented and the setting that it's in. I mean, you've got your. It also depends on who you play as. Like if you play as Claude, you're on this ship out in space, flying around as part of the Earth Federation, and you crash land on an alien planet who has no technology whatsoever, and you've got those two. Kind of not clashing, but you've got what's a good word? A mix of technology and non-technology, and just Claude getting used to this whole world that he's never experienced before, but seeing that these people are living happily and stuff like that without all this technology. And if you play from Reyna's point of view, she sees this guy land on her planet, and it's been so long since I've played, but I mean, essentially. There's just so much to it. I really can't talk about because a lot of the good stuff happens at the end when you find out about the 12 wise men and the second planet and everything. And I say that in quotes, but the there's just a lot there. It's a lot of content, and that's one of the reasons I like it is because it's complexity. And Matt was mentioning before we were recording. A lot of what's good about it is the characters and the individual little dialogue scenes that they have with each other, the private actions, the secret scenes, and that kind of stuff. Those are, those little moments, and Tales games do the same thing, where you have your skits and stuff. And I just like getting that extra bit of flavor that gives you character depth, which just means the story is going to be better because you can relate to these characters more, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it makes sense. I think that the glorious things about Star Ocean 2 is the difference in perspective. It completely changes the outlook of the story depending on which perspective you're playing. The one from Reyna's point of view is completely ignorant of alien technology and space travel and stuff. It's very mystical, very magical, very tribal in nature. Whereas Claude is very scientific and very highly advanced. And you do get a lot of the internal monologue from Claude and Reyna, depending on which perspective you're playing. I mean, it goes so far as it changes what characters you're actually able to get in the game. Mm-hmm. So it's literally a different experience both times that you play it. And I can't count higher than on my fingers the number of games I can think of that do that kind of thing.
I have a confession to make as well. I have never played as Reyna.
Oh, so you've never gotten Dias?
Never, other than just when he joins you, temporarily. Nope. I know.
Gotta go back through it.
I go back through it. I will definitely play as her, but I unfortunately have not. I really like Claude's story, though. I mean, I had a good time with it. And then you play Star Ocean 3 and you find out that was completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pretend that Star Ocean 3 didn't happen.
No, man. Star Ocean 3 is great.
I'd like to apologize to anybody who likes Star Ocean 3, Terror and Lightning. But
why you... What? That's a great game.
No, it's not.
You made me play it, man.
I did.
And I was so skeptical. And then that twist happened, and it was amazing.
If you asked me to put my objective
I think
hat
if you
on,
hadn't told me there was a twist, it would have upset me.
I might call it a good game if I put my objective hat on, but it's the most infuriating good game that I've ever played.
Yeah, I always thought the battle system and the I like the characters too, and I like the environments and everything like that. It's just when you get to that plot point, especially after playing the first two, it's just like, what? So everything I've done is completely worthless up until now.
Yeah.
Great. All right. So moving along. Mark, what's your number 5?
All right. Well, I am now questioning myself because of comments Matt made before we started recording. But my number 5 is Final Fantasy VII. And Matt just went on a whole tirade about how there isn't much of a plot and how he would never pick that one out of the series. So now I'm questioning myself.
It's fine. I mean, I'm doing kind of the same thing with one of my picks later on. So, I mean, it's kind of you're kind of balancing on a pivot point, but I'm good with it.
I felt like I would have never picked this. I've played in the past about a third of the game, but this time I've actually played all the way through. I would have always picked Final Fantasy VI any other time until now. I still think 6 has better characters, but just the fact that there's more plot, the fact that it's more fleshed out than 6. 6 has a great plot. If they spent more time with it, if it was a PlayStation era Final Fantasy game, I think
6 is about the characters.
Yeah,
hands
exactly.
down. Absolutely.
But this one starts out in Midgar, and you've got all this cyberpunk feeling to it, and then it builds out into this huge world, and every place feels different, and the plot that they describe to you is truly epic.
Yeah, I mean, it does really good job with atmosphere.
Exactly. Actually, that's one of the big things. Is I feel like Final Fantasy VII is where Square started to get their cinematic chops. You really see it with in Nibelheim, if that's how you pronounce it, in the basement when Sephiroth is finding out certain things, reading books. That is an incredible way to present that information to the player. Yeah, they don't just give it to you. It's super dramatic the way they've set the whole situation up. And burning the town down. I mean, it's a little soapy, but it works.
And what's even better is that when you find out towards the end of the game that Sephiroth's an idiot.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah.
It's all dramatic when he's starting to read all those books down in the Nibelheim library, and he's completely getting the wrong idea.
Yep. And the thing you said that they don't really tell you things, they just hint at things.
Exactly.
Is actually one of the things that I really like about the game.
Same here.
The fact that they don't say, at least I don't think they ever specifically say that Genova is what caused the Northern Crater.
They
They imply it heavily, but do they ever say it?
There's a video that you can watch in the
You're
Snow
right.
Town
Yeah.
where they talk about it, but they don't go into extreme detail. But you get enough information from there that, again, you can put the puzzle pieces together,
Right.
which is the entire storytelling method that Final Fantasy
Which is
uses.
incredible. So, basically, the way they tell the story is what really sold it for me.
Very cool. Matt, number 4.
My number 4. I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to recognize this. Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers.
Never even heard of it.
It was a game made by Sierra in 1993, back when Sierra was good. I'm just kidding. They were.
Hey, what? They were good.
I know they were good. They were. It's fine. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
All right.
Lord. Okay. Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Fathers. This is an old school like point and click adventure game where you're this guy named Gabriel and you are on a police investigation in New Orleans. You're investigating a series of murders that have voodoo overtones, and kind of like how Final Fantasy VII nailed the atmosphere in that game, this game is all about atmosphere. The plot is incredibly intriguing, and every single scene that you get to, you just want to find out what happens next. Like, this is one of those games that I played as a little kid, in like 1995, I think is when I actually got a hold of it. So I was like 7, and I played it all the way through as soon as I got a hold of it. Like, I did not stop playing it for like 3 days. So
Nice.
The fact that just a pure story-based game was able to hold the attention of a 7-year-old for that long speaks magnitudes towards its effectiveness. And if you guys haven't played it before and you want to try and get a hold of it, I don't know if you can, but if you can find the CD-ROM for it, make sure you get that version and not the floppy disk version, because the CD-ROM version is actually has voice acting in it, done by really great actors like Tim Curry and Mark Hamill. So make sure you get a hold of that.
Good to know. All right. My number 4 is the Mass Effect series.
Solid choice, bro.
I am actually going to hold off on any comments, though, because it's further along on Mark's list. So in the interest of time, we're going to go ahead and press on. So, Mark, what's your number 4?
All right, my number 4 is To the Moon. I know Matt hasn't played To the Moon.
Oh, man, I want to, though.
It's sort of, it feels kind of like Eternal Sunshine to the Spotless Mind, if you've seen that movie, where it's about two people coming in and tapping into someone's mind and sort of playing around in their mind. They're doing something completely different. They're not erasing memories. They're actually changing someone's memories because he's on his deathbed and he wants to remember life in a different way. And this is incredible. This is a plot that I love because it's the question, is perception reality? And that's a really interesting question to ask. If, as far as you're concerned, this is how your life was, if you're going to die anyway, you might as well believe your life went the way it went, right?
Right.
Yep.
The way you wish it went, I should say. The rules of how you go back in time, go back in his memories in time and unlock further memories and mess with his mind. The things you find out about his past and why he wants to change his memory, just everything about it is incredible and funny and occasionally heartbreaking. And if you haven't played this game, you absolutely have to. And go listen to our episode where we reviewed it as well. So
Yeah, we gush about it. The music is spectacular, too.
that's true.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal game. Honestly, the only reason it wasn't on my list because it's a little short.
That's true. It is pretty short.
But it's amazing game. If you haven't played it, you're missing out, hands down. Mm-hmm. All right, number 3, Matt.
Oh, boy. This is something that is going to be no surprise to most people. Deus Ex.
I wanted to put it on my list,
Good.
but I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm looking at your list right now. I'm a little pissed, but I'll forgive you.
I wanted to put it on mine too, but I wanted to put games that I played on there first. So
This is unbelievable. You haven't played Deus Ex?
I have played about 15 minutes of it.
Oh my god. Anyway, all right. So Deus Ex was really ahead of its time. It did a lot of things that back then that game studios seem to be quote unquote discovering now in terms of storytelling techniques, which is really weird to me. But basically, their angle of storytelling comes twofold. A, they use real world locations and then imagine them in a sci-fi environment. So like a sci-fi Hong Kong, sci-fi New York, and stuff like that are really intriguing locations to pull you in to the setting. And then they also use real-world conspiracy theories imagined in this particular universe to really grab your attention, and then the plot in and of itself holds it there. It gives it enough time for you to really get engrossed into the actual plot of what's going on, which has to do with the Grey Death and locating the different sources of ambrosia throughout the game, which is a really scarce vaccine that can cure the Grey Death, which is just a huge pandemic that's just screwing over the world.
So it's a engineered nanovirus.
Correct.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and you play a guy named J.C. Denton who gets his own augmentations of nanotechnology to make him capable of doing these missions, including some augments that he did not want that force him to into situations where he needs to go do stuff. Anyway, the plot twists throughout the game are amazing, and the central factor of why I think that this game is so good is because a lot of the story elements that make the entirety of the plot make sense are in the environment and optional to get. Like you don't have, you can plow straight through the game and you'll get a different picture of what actually was happening, as opposed to if you actually went everywhere in an environment and collected all the story information that was possible.
All right. My number 3 is Tales of Symphonia. It is my favorite Tales game, hands down, and I love the whole series, so this is actually saying a lot for me. The story, I'm going to spoil just a tiny little bit of it, but it's something that's like, in the middle of the game, so it's not like, crazy. So the whole when the game opens up, you're supposed to be escorting the Chosen, who is Colette, to basically go on a pilgrimage of sorts to make your world prosperous. About halfway through the game, you find out that there's this whole other world, this like opposite side of the coin, that has their own Chosen as well, who makes the same pilgrimage, around the same time. You find out that when one world is prosperous, the other one is in disarray. Neither side is good or evil. They both have, their ups and downs and everything like that. But the whole point of the game is to they're trying to figure out, like, we want to protect ourselves, but we don't want to hurt these people. They haven't done anything to us, but if their world, is prosperous, then obviously we're going to be in decline. So what do we do? How do we solve this? And that it kind of just goes from there. And you actually get to explore both worlds. Eventually you get to travel between the two. And just, this is another game where the characters really, really make it shine. And I can't recommend this enough, especially if you've never played a Tales game. Play this one first. It's a wonderful, wonderful introduction to the series. And the fact they have the HD versions out now makes it so much better. It really is just a great game, and my third favorite story. Mark, number 3.
All right, number 3. This is going to be a short one. Number 3 for me is Journey, the kind of art experiment PlayStation Network game. This game has no dialogue. There is no dialogue in it at all. How can the game have a story without dialogue? Well, it does. You play as this wanderer in the desert. You wander through these different puzzles, discover ruins and paintings on the wall that kind of explain what happened to your society or your civilization, what caused it to fall down. The world starts out great, interesting. You're driven along by curiosity and the desire to learn and become stronger. As you continue on your journey, you start encountering challenges, enemies that try to hurt you that you have to avoid. The cool thing is it's multiplayer, but not in the sense that like, oh, my friend's going to log on and play with me. It randomly seeds players without their name who are also in the world with you exploring that can like send like a sound wave to you, but they don't actually talk to you. They just explore the world with you and keep you company and discover things with you. As you continue to play, you start to slow down. The world starts to get a little bit more grim, and eventually you die.
Spoilers.
Or at least
Spoilers.
I think you die, maybe.
I haven't even played it. Thanks.
Something happens.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, come on, man.
Don't blame me for you being a spoiler.
It's been out forever, man.
You've been out forever.
I don't know. I spoiled it for you.
Sounds like one of those games that a few of our friends would qualify as art.
No, it's an art game. The game, I mean, I can't say this definitively, but to me the game was a metaphor for the different stages of life and a metaphor for an open metaphor for afterlife. And it was an incredible experience.
Very cool. Matt, number 2, here we go.
Oh boy. All right. So my number 2 is Fabula Nova Crystallis series as a whole. That is the Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, and Lightning Returns collectively as a story.
That makes it even worse. Oh my god, I was just going to give you crap just because I thought you picked the first one. But all three... What?
Absolutely. No, actually, the first one standing on its own would be bad.
All right,
Why?
Matt, I haven't played it.
Ending.
I haven't played it. Convince me to play it.
Convince you to play it? I don't want to convince you to
With
play
the plot.
We
By-
don't
with
have
the plot?
a
Okay.
year.
All right, there's two things that I want to point out. First of all, this game does time travel in an amazing way for me. I love the way they do time travel and the way that they mess with it with prophecies. Prophecies are seen by people in the future, and then because the people who are making the prophecies can see things that are happening in the future, they may change what their prophecy is. So they're affecting each other. The past and the future are actually affecting each other in cross ways, which is really, really interesting to me.
You realize that makes no sense. If I was in the future, I could be I could prophesize too.
Well, you have to play the game.
I've played the second one.
It's going to take me like 5. Well, then you need to go play it again.
I thought it was ridiculous.
It was awesome. I loved it.
I actually like the second one better than the first one, to be honest.
Good. Well, the first one, its ending was really weird, and everyone was just like, "What just happened?"
Yeah, but the second one doesn't do anything to tie up the first one's ending.
Well, yeah, it does.
No, it has virtually nothing to do with the story and the events in the first one.
It does.
No. First game is all about tattoos and zombies
All right, I'm going to move on.
and trying to stop that.
And speaking of tattoos and zombies, all right, so the Foul Sea. The biggest reason why I am a lover of this particular plot is you have to think about what was the Foul Sea's ultimate motivation. What did they want to do? When you get to discovering that particular element of the game, I dropped the controller and I was rolling around on the ground for 10 minutes going, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing." That's how that's what
Were you
happened.
really rolling around on the ground?
Yes, it was amazing.
I'm just picturing him just rolling around.
Yeah, like this, like flat. I was rolling around like a log, back and forth, back and forth. I was like, "Oh my
Good
goodness,
stuff.
this is the most amazing plot twist I've ever seen. I love it." Do you know what I'm talking about, JJ?
It's been so long since I've played that one. Honestly,
Well, it's in 2. Like that's the entire point
well,
of 2.
why don't we just keep this short? And you said you wanted to do a segment on this eventually, so I
Yeah.
think in an episode, you and I will probably just sit down and have a big old talk about this game.
Yeah.
So just keep it short. Tell us what you liked about it, and we'll get to that in depth eventually.
Character growth was great. The hidden plot is great, and the cinematography and presentation of the plot was great. There you go.
There you go. Final Fantasy 13.
3
Great.
plot points.
Great.
I have
Does
not
that convince you?
touched
I don't
anything
know.
else.
I'm actually more thinking I'm going to play Tales of Symphonia next.
Did you like what I said?
Yeah.
It's cool. It is. It's a good. I mean, it's goofy, but it's a great game. Honestly, and I've said this before, as much crap as I give Matt about Final Fantasy 13, I liked the game. I really did, and I liked the second one better than the first one. So I'm excited to play the third one.
We've had this conversation. I feel like that if it wasn't called Final Fantasy 13, a lot of people would have liked it more.
Correct, and I agree wholeheartedly. Absolutely, like I said, and I gave you this example. Final Fantasy 13 to the Final Fantasy series is like bringing sushi to a barbecue. Like, yeah, there's probably going to be a couple people there that like it, but it doesn't
Yeah.
really fit the mold.
That makes sense.
You know?
And I agree with that. And again, as a qualifier, like I also think that Final Fantasy 12 also doesn't fit the mold.
And there's a lot of people who agree with you on that too. Absolutely. I don't know. I'd have to think about that, to be honest. I might agree with you on that as well.
Yeah.
So either way,
I hate Final Fantasy 12, so I'm biased and I'm just like whatever. But
all right. So moving along. Okay, my number 2 is Suikoden 3.
Yeah, good pick.
My favorite in the series, and honestly, the plot itself, if I just say what it is, you'd probably be like, what? Seriously? Stop the bad guy. That's honestly the plot. The reason I like it so much is the way it's presented. I've talked about the Trinity Sight system, and that's the main reason it's my favorite in the series. When you've got a story that's being told from 3 separate points of view, it adds an incredible layer of depth that you don't get from seeing it just from one angle. you get to actually feel the emotions of the different sides that are coming in there. And because of that, I mean, you actually get to take everything in, and it's like it's actually happening because you can relate to all of these different angles of this story.
And it takes what you said, stop the bad guy, and turns it into who is the bad guy.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. And when you find out who the bad guy is, it's, well, as long as you've played the other games,
Yep.
you know, it really is just a great game. So my favorite in the series, Suikoden 3. Mark number 2 and my number 4.
Oh, man. My number 2 is the Mass Effect series.
Heck yeah, man. Matt, have you finished this yet?
By the way, I'm not Brian because I don't really like Mass Effect that much, but I haven't played 2 or 3.
Was
That's
Mass Effect
why.
I know.
That's exactly why. It is phenomenal. It really is.
That's what I've been told.
I was skeptical at first too, because it's not usually my cup of tea. And when Brian convinced us to play it, we finally got through it.
Yeah.
I mean, I fell in love with it. It's amazing.
Yeah, literally every grievance that I had with Mass Effect 1, I have been told is not there in Mass Effect 2 and 3. So I should go play it. I just haven't yet.
Does Matt know about my greatest shame in the Mass Effect universe?
If he's listened to the episode, he probably has.
I was being a little lazy because I was trying to finish the game on time, so I didn't get in trouble. And I was like, I don't need to do every mission in this area, do I? I can skip some of them. So I skipped some, and then I went to the big important mission and caused an entire race of people to be eradicated from the universe.
Bam.
His girlfriend's race of people.
My girlfriend's race of people.
Because you were lazy.
Yes.
Nice.
And that's what I love about the game. The fact that your actions really do have a profound effect on what happens.
It's true.
I'm just picturing like Mark in his spaceship with his girlfriend coming over and saying like, Mark, my people are dying. We need your help. And he's like, nah, just no, let's do this.
You're the only interesting person in that bunch.
Well, yeah.
The whole series is, and you can't just play one. Like, it improves upon itself so much. I think the second game is the best one out of the 3.
Definitely.
But you can't, like, I would not just sit down and play the second one on its own. I would still play 1, 2, 3 because the story, obviously connects from one to the next, but it really, really is good.
Yes,
I mean, it's just good.
And the characters are good, too.
Yeah.
I know that you have your opinion about a couple of the characters.
I think they're a little
Jacob.
bland.
The only character I didn't like in the entire thing was the guy played by Freddie Prinze Jr. in the third one.
I'm not sure.
He's always, he's like a Jersey Shore kind of guy.
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
I actually don't remember his name.
I don't know. Either way.
I never used him.
No, I think I would have liked it more if more of your characters would have stuck with you as your crew and
True.
as your party members throughout. I mean, you see them, but like Garrus and Liara and what's her face? Your girl. I don't know. Tally. The 3 of them are from what I can remember the only ones that stick with you the whole way through, which is unfortunate because I think I would have liked the characters more if they all and you just added more and more people to your roster rather than subbing out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Maybe 108 characters.
108 characters, I think, would have been the perfect amount for
fill
this
up
game.
your ship with your.
Well, you have to get a bigger ship.
That'd be great. Heck yeah, man. That'd be cool. So solid choice. My number 4 and Mark's number 2 Mass Effect series. Number 1, Matt.
All right. My number 1 may surprise a lot of you who know me.
I'm not
because
surprised.
I'm into JRPGs mostly, but this game blew my face off when I played it. Indigo Prophecy, the spiritual predecessor to the lackluster Heavy Rain.
Yep.
But Indigo Prophecy I felt was the real deal. This game did kind of what you were saying in Mass Effect. Like, it made your actions have consequences. And I have to say, half the game is it's like a psychological thriller, and M. Night Shyamalan wishes that he could make psychological thrillers like this. And then the second half of the game is like a cheesy action movie, and I love it. It's in your face, almost like Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It gets really good. And all this is set in one of the best settings that I've ever seen. It's New York, so it's something that's actually something that we can relate to and get into really quick. But a lot of supernatural things are going on. specifically the plot revolves around murders that have these supernatural overtones to them. And exploring this particular plot was the first time that I really felt like that I was being a detective in a game. I never felt like that I had an open range of my actions leading to different dynamically created conclusions. But that actually happens in this game. Like everywhere. Like every action that you take changes something. And you just don't see that. I mean, granted, it's difficult to do in today's environment with how big games are, but I still wish that they could do that again, and Heavy Rain just didn't do it for me. But Indigo Prophecy, it is the real deal. Go play it if you haven't. You'll love it.
I want to check it out. I've seen it 1,000 times, and I just haven't picked it up. Okay, my number one is controversial. It's the Xenogears and Xenosaga trilogy.
But I heard that Xenogears sucked.
Some people do think that. Some people do think that, and it's understandable why they think so. But the reason they think it sucks is the reason I like it so much.
It's got all them JRPG tropes.
Because the plot is so complex and hard to follow. But when you do follow it, there's so many like hidden agendas and hidden messages in there.
That's the exact reason why Final Fantasy 13 is so good. It's because it's so hard to follow.
Zombies and tattoos.
Oh my god.
That's it. Zombie tattoos.
All right, keep going.
Xenogears is... I mean, I can't really talk about the plot because there's so much to it. It's really just something you have to look into yourself. Xenosaga is... The reason I lump them together is just because, no, they're officially not related, but you play through the Xenosaga trilogy, you get to the third game, and there's a clear-cut reference to Xenogears. But, I don't know, there's just I love the characters, I love the interactions between all of them, and I just love how no matter what part of the story you're on, 5 minutes later, something else is going to get lumped in to add a whole new mess of complications to the entire plot. And I think that's one of the reasons I love it so much. It's got its little individual episodic segments where, you're going through the prison, then you get out, and all of a sudden you're back at it with the main overall plot again. And then all of a sudden you go to Solaris. And then you're back out and you're on the big main the main plot again. And it's just, there's so much going on, and that's why I love it so much. So, Xenogears, Xenosaga Trilogy, my number one. Fantastic. Better than Final Fantasy 13.
My
Mark,
number one is Suikoden 2.
Called it.
This was tough. I mean, I was really tempted to pick 3.
It was not.
It was tough.
No, it wasn't.
I'm going to point this pencil at you again.
Game of Thrones, the video game.
I wanted to pick Suikoden 3. I've been leaning towards that being my favorite one for a while now. The characters are by far better in the third one. But the second one is so political. And the politics are awesome.
That's the reason why it was almost on my list, because of the political the
way
political
they
intrigue.
start the war, the little trick that they try at the beginning of the game to start the war, the fact that you have to travel all over. The world feels bigger, first of all. And the fact that you're traveling all over, meeting governors and generals and trying to recruit them. And the game just keeps moving with a great pace. And you're always into some new crap. And it's sort of like what you said with Xenogears. You've got the main plot, and then you've got these side plots with the Neck Lord and going to a university. There's just so much stuff. It's always moving, and the main plot is tragic and incredible. And I can't say much without spoiling what's great about it.
It's unfortunate. There's a lot of people that haven't been able to experience it.
It also feels. The plot also feels like realistic to me. Like things do not go as planned in Suikoden 2
so.
all over the place, like in ways that are almost like bad for like from a story point of view, but they feel so real it's forgivable. Like you go to this north town to handle this small thing that's going on with like a vampire or something, and at the same time like a southern town just falls to an enemy army.
Yeah.
Like, when that was not even on the table when you left to the North Town in the first place.
That is what's great.
What?
The storytelling isn't clean. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's not clean.
It's very realistic because when you think this is the plot, here's this other thing out of left field. And when you think you've got a perfect plan, here's something new that you have to deal with right now.
Yeah, very unexpected events happen all over the place in that game.
The whole series is phenomenal. It really is. It's hard to choose between them.
It is.
So, but I don't know. I like 3.
Hey, man.
It's the first one I beat.
Yeah.
I really need to give 3 another chance. I just can't get over the animations are just so primitive.
I'll give you absolutely. They are. It's tough to sit through with it because it drags on. But I don't know. There's just something about it. All right, so there we go. Our top 5 video game plots. You guys have anything else? We ran a little long today, so we're gonna try and wrap it up here.
I'm gonna read just a block of text to make it run even long. No, I don't got anything.
Okay, good to know.
I'll be back shortly to defend the honor of Final Fantasy 13, the reason why you're all wrong about it, and it's actually really great.
I can't wait. All right, with that, this is the Frozen North signing off. My name is JJ.
Howdy, y'all!
I'm Brian.
Howdy, y'all.
I had to give.
At the end of the episode,
I got my strength up.
like
I didn't have the
when
strength.
you leave somebody's house, do you say hi
Wait,
and then walk out?
wait. Aloha, y'all.
There you go. That means hello and goodbye, by the way.
Does.
if you didn't
Boom!
know.
Great.
Yeah,
Language.
But he didn't go.
Language zone.
Ow!
Yeah, my name's Brian, and I like Matt's effect.
Boom. I see what you did there. All right, with that, this is the Frozen North signing off. We will be back next week with some new stuff. Thanks for listening, and as always, keep on gaming.
Our theme song was made available through the Creative Commons Attribution license by Ziphoid. The song title is Radical Fanfare.